Hello, nieces and cousins and nephews and aunts and uncles. Today we are going to talk about a fun and exhilarating topic. It's called tattoos. Should Christians get them? What should they get? Where should they put them? On their face? On their toes? What specific Bible verses to get tatted? Just kidding. Okay, so it's a very controversial subject, especially the older I get, because the culture gets more loose with it. Before we jump into what does the Bible have to say about it, in the area that I live in, what it's generally had to say about it concerning Christians is pretty negative, anything coming from the pulpit as far as tattoos and Christians getting them, not only negative, but demonic. I've heard, people getting demons from getting tattoos. I've heard that from different churches. I've heard all kinds of things about tattoos. So let's look at what biblically needs to be said about tattoos. So the only part in my Bible that talks about the marking of one's skin in a negative stance is in Leviticus. And it's very important that when you are deriving things from the Bible, especially on what one should do or one should not do, it's important to look at where it is in the Bible and the context surrounding it. When was it written? Who wrote it? What circumstances were surrounding it when it was written? And who was it written to? Who was the audience? And so where it is talking about this in a negative stance is in the book of Leviticus, written by Moses, who was shepherding the people of Israel from one bad land to another bad land that was going to be their land, but it was currently inhabited by people that were practicing pagan and demonic practices. And so as they're being sheltered into this new land from their old land, he's laying down a law concerning the land that they're going into so that they're not corrupted by the pagan and demonic practices of that land. So that's the context, okay? Now, let's go even deeper into context. This is where I find it very interesting. In the same area where it says you should not mark your skin, it also says that you should not cut the sides of your head. Okay? And then a few chapters around that, it also says that you should not eat bacon or shrimp. Okay? There's a lot of other animals in there. So let's talk about that. Okay? This is the only part of the Bible that talks about getting your skin marked up. And I've been personally screamed at from the pulpit about tattoos from somebody that's got the freshest fade, right? And leaves there to go eat some bacon and shrimp. It's coming out of the same book. They're breaking the same Leviticus law. Okay, so let's dive a little bit deeper. I'm not saying one is right, one is wrong. I'm just saying if you pull just that out of context and you choose to ignore the other parts of the Leviticus law, it's kind of weird, right? It's kind of weird to say, well, I can cut my hair because that was just a tradition they did when somebody died. In mourning of them, they would cut the sides of their head. Okay, well, the same practice with marking your skin. That was also a practice they would do in mourning of a close one dying or a loved one dying. And so you're picking and choosing what parts of the Leviticus law that we should practice. And we are in the New Testament. Should we practice the Leviticus law? Should we implement that in our practices? Let's talk about it. So, let's seek the Father's heart on this issue. Does God want you to have tattoos? Are tattoos bad? Are they going to put demons inside of you? Are they going to make you go to hell because you've got tattoos? Man, I think all of those answers could go one way or another. I think, we can talk up and down the street about tattoos all day, but I believe what's going on inside of the body is far more important than what's being put on the outside. Now, with that being said, I believe the part of the Bible that you will find the most clarity for these answers is from Uncle Paul, when he says that I can do all things. All things are lawful for me. Yet not all things edify. Not all things are beneficial for me. I can do all things and still be approved by God through the grace of His Son, Jesus Christ. But does it bring me up? Does it do anything positive for my life? Does it actually help me or help somebody else? Or, what's the motive behind it? Okay. And I'm only talking about this because, for a long time I've understood that concept. And so I didn't really, I haven't got a tattoo since I've got saved about 3 years ago. But I haven't been against it. I was, just a little while ago on my vacation, I was planning on getting another one. And it was a very specific thing I was going to get tattooed. And in that time, while I was kind of really debating about getting one, I was about to pull the trigger on it. I had a dream, and it was about the symbol that I wanted to get tattooed on me, and I went up to it, and as I got closer to it, I realized the symbol was just a mirage. It was just it was just a play on the eyes. It wasn't really the symbol, but I thought it was. And then my dad was there, and he was like, "Hey, you need to stop focusing on that symbol. You need to do this and this and this and that." And I woke up and I felt God was pushing me away from that idea. So it's the only thing that's kind of, prompted me to do a video on it. I believe you should use spiritual discretion on this and pray about it and seek the Holy Spirit if getting a tattoo is something that you should do. When I look at Paul saying not all things edify, right? I know when I was first getting saved, if somebody came up and was trying to talk to me about Jesus and they had like a Joker tattoo or something crazy or a neck tattoo, I would immediately be less prompt to hear them just from their presentation. When I was a younger man, as soon as I was 18, I was dying to get tattoos, and I did. But I was very strategic of where I put them at. And the reasoning behind that was because I was a young man and I was beginning my career. As I got older, I got into different things that, I could have the freedom of having tattoos wherever I wanted. But I still, was pretty strategic about where I put them, and not just for business and money-making things, but it's all about impressions. I might really have a strong desire for it now, and it might suit my lifestyle now, but in 10 years, let's say I'm running for, office, in Congress or something, it's going to come back to bite me in the butt if I got a bunch of silly tattoos on me. So just things to think about and consider. Biblically, I don't believe that you are crossing any lines getting a tattoo. But who is it benefiting, is what I would say. Pray about it. See what happens. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. I've got one request for anybody watching this. If you would, just pray for me tonight. Pray for your old boy Austin over here. There's many things the Lord has delivered me from, and this is just me being transparent. There's many things the Lord has delivered me from throughout the years, and I've like the dog returning to his vomit. I've kind of dove back into some of them, and I'm seeking freedom, and I'm just seeking mercy and a strong desire to just fully serve the Lord with everything I've got, just like I once did, returning to my love. If you would pray these things over me, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, y'all. I love you. I'll talk to you later, guys. Peace out.